You have to move from the hobby stage to the proper work stage. A hobby is something you do when you have the time. Work is what you find time to do. Many people in the creative industry just feel like, oh, we were creatives. Every single writers, we have writer's block. Now, am I saying that writer's block is not a thing? I think it's a thing, but I think it's over-exaggerated. Sometimes we just feel like when we don't have any inspiration and we don't feel like it, then it is not the time. That way, you will not build something sustained, and you will not be able to build something that will transcend you, and you will not be able to build a business that will stand the test of time.
Hi, Lushola.
Hi, Claribel. How do you do?
I'm fine, thank you. So my question is this. What are the mistakes you see young entrepreneurs make, especially in creative industries, something like event planning that I do, because I'm an event planner, like I said. So what are those mistakes you see people like myself make, and how can we work to correct them?
Okay, interesting. So common mistakes that people in the creative industry make. So I like that question. There's a blanket answer, and then there's also an answer that is more specific. So I need to say that for you in the event planning space, I wouldn't even call it something thoroughly creative at its core, because I feel you guys are even more structured than the average creative expression, right? So I'll be very honest, but I'll speak to both. I'll speak first to the general point of view, and then I can narrow down to you. I'll start by saying that the primary mistake many people in the creative industry or in creative industries make is that they stay at the hobby stage for too long without transiting to the proper business phase. I'll explain. You see, many of them just rest and ride on vibes. So for example, the average musician waits for him to get inspiration. He waits for several months, keep waiting. And then in many cases, because he has not found a way to institutionalize and perhaps apply some form of structure to that gifting, right? What will very likely happen is that years down the line, you'll find out that he only created when he felt like it. And so it's more like you flow with the emotions or the creative juice. And I feel that's one of the major mistakes. Now, many people see structure as something that stifles creativity, but I don't agree. I think instead, structure creates a platform for creativity to thrive. And so the very first thing I want to say is this: you have to move from the hobby stage to the proper work stage. A hobby is something you do when you have the time. Work is what you find time to do. There's a difference. And so many people in the creative industry just feel like, oh, we were creatives. Every single writers, we have writer's block. Now, am I saying that writer's block is not a thing? I think it's a thing, but I think it's over-exaggerated. What I believe is sometimes we just feel like when we don't have any inspiration and we don't feel like it, then it is not the time. That way, you will not build something sustained, and you will not be able to build something that will transcend you, and you will not be able to build a business that will stand the test of time. So if in the creative business, I would advise that you build some structure. For example, stop relying on inspiration. Rely on systems. Like the author of Atomic Habits, James Clear, will always say, you don't rise to the level of your goals, you fall to the level of your systems. The same applies to people in the creative space. So what could the systems be, for example? Number one, learn to leverage your peak seasons. The moment you're on a creative high, for example, leverage it. Leverage it. Write all the songs you can write. Because one day you'll be in the studio when there seems to be no inspiration, and there's a song in your journal that you will pull out and you will feel it. The next thing also is sometimes you need to learn to direct your feelings and stop letting your feelings direct you. And what that will mean is that there are some moments where you're not feeling like something. It's not being there, you're not getting it. The vibe is not vibing. But then what you do is you tell yourself, I have to do this. I have to. Which means you can command your emotions. You can tell yourself that you need to focus. And because you've told yourself of the need to focus, you will find out that one way or another, that focus will come. If we keep waiting for ourselves to feel like something, we almost will not do anything. Like Abraham Lincoln would say, discipline is choosing between what you want now and what you want the most. And so right now, for example, I don't feel like being in this room. I want to relax. My back hurts. But I'm doing this because there are people waiting in their tens of thousands and in their hundreds of thousands, waiting for these episodes to be out. And there's you who need the impartation. So that makes a world of sense. That's number one. But then the second thing I want to now talk about is with respect to someone like is in your industry, which is the creative space with more emphasis on event planning. The very first thing I would say is typical advice. I would say for an industry like yours, it thrives a lot more on relationships. But I think there's a balance. The balance of relationship currency, but then also credibility. And you must understand the balance and find the sweet spot. On one hand, there are people who focus solely on their work and they don't focus on building the right relationships and the right rapports with the very people who could get them into new circles. While on the other hand, there are some people who all they do is network but they suck at their jobs. They do. And then you forget that the greatest marketer is a beautiful worker. That when people walk up to your event and say, oh my, look at my wedding, for example. My wedding was organized. My wedding was organized by Hill's Concept. Now, I need to tell you 100%. Buddy, I'm just doing an ad for her. I need to say it. Unplanned, but unrehearsed, but I think it's important. People came to my wedding and people made statements like, that's the most planned, that's the best planned event I've seen. Everybody knew what to do. People took this, took that. In fact, one of my friends said, I didn't expect any less. It's you, Olushola. I know you have a good eye for it. So I said, it's not just me. It's that I got the best hands. And guess what? Right as she was planning my wedding so beautifully, right as we were there at Harbour Point Event Center in Victoria Island, there was another event happening in the other marquee hall. And then I think it was Wema Bag event, and one of the leads there came to my event. I said, what's happening here? This is so coordinated, everything. I want to meet the event planner. And then they pointed her to her in the midst of the crowd, and then she went. Because they were doing something and she got a bit of access just to be at the entrance of the event hall. And that was it. And ever since then, people have asked me and I've recommended. And guess what? 1 or 2 months after, she did another family event. If I'm going to be having anything strong now, right, because of a proven track record in that, she will do this. So relationships are good. For example, relationship is why maybe a Bella, for example, who is burgeoning in that industry, she's not been in the industry as long as Hilda has been. And also Hilda, on the other hand, has not been in the industry for as long as Funke Bucknor Brute has been. You see, Funke Bucknor Brute's principles have thrived on those two things, relationships and the excellence of the work. So people don't just do work with you because it's you. They do work because they know you will deliver. But then relationship is also particularly in the early phase. So where, for example, for Bella now, I see one work she does and I say, okay, you know what? For what you're trying to achieve, my girl can do this and she'll do it excellently. And then you let the word keep speaking for you. So understand the balance of both. Don't just be great on one and be deficient in the other. On one hand, relationships help because one client can create such a ripple effect. And it has a trickle-down effect on many more people to come. It creates a chain reaction. And that chain reaction must never be underrated. It's something called the customer lifetime value. It's not just measured by the client's potential to keep on patronizing you, but what they can do with word of mouth and how many more people they can pull to your circle. So value relationships. But the way you show you value relationships is that when the work gets to it, you deliver like your life depends on it. This is important and I hope it helps.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.